Welcome again. In this module, we'll briefly discuss what is a duplicate invoice, reasons for duplicate payments, and what are the best practices to avoid duplicate payment. Before we get into details, let's first understand what is an invoice. Invoice is a commercial instrument prepared and issued by a seller to a buyer. It provides details of quantity and rate at which goods are sold to the purchaser and is submitted to the buyer for the payment. Let's understand in what scenario two invoices are similar to each other. In this example, we have two invoices. Please look at the highlighted portion. You will find invoice number, date, reference number, PO date, payment terms. All information mentioned in invoice 1 is similar to invoice 2. So prima facie both invoices look similar. Let's get into granular details here. Both invoices are similar because date, invoice number, PO number, PO reference, line items, total amount all are similar in both the invoices. That means one of the invoices duplicate. So earlier it was relatively easy to differentiate between original and duplicate invoices. Now due to technology and digitization, it is hard to differentiate which invoice is duplicate copy of the original. To summarize, if two invoices have a similar date, invoice number, PO reference number, amount and line items, this is a duplicate invoice case. In this topic, we'll cover few examples of duplicate payment. These are just indicative examples to help you understand the broad reasons for duplicate payments. There can be multiple reasons for duplicate payments. All reasons cannot be listed here, as the objective of this module is to help you understand the broader understanding of the duplicate payments. Now let's understand what are the reasons for duplicate payment. To start with, invoice sent in two sets. It is observed that vendors often send copy of invoices to the customer along with the payments follow-ups. That means an original invoice is sent either by courier or by email, and they expect the payment to be done within the payment terms period. But if the payment is delayed, instead of doing a regular follow-up, they also attach an invoice. So when an invoice is not paid by the end of the billing cycle, as I mentioned, a billing cycle could be once in a month or twice a month or once in 60 days, a follow-up invoice is sent. While this may be marked a copy or a duplicate invoice, they are not always so marked. So many of these second invoices also get paid. And what do you think what happens when that original turns up in the accounts payable, which is approved for the payment? It sometimes gets paid. Getting that duplicate payment returned can be a tedious and expensive proposition. Other reasons could be sometimes original invoice gets misplaced or delayed in the transit because of postal error or scanning partner errors. And hence, accounts payable department of customer side asks for a copy of invoice. That also leads for a duplicate payment. Third example could be a small vendor who do not have any control on issuing the hard or the soft copy invoices. A best example is the material is delivered to a site location and they don't have any policy from where to issue an invoice. They end up issuing a digital invoice or a physical invoice, and also the head office, they also end up issuing an invoice, right? And these are some typical examples through which the duplicate payments may also happen. While most of the examples I shared are the cases of erroneous or clerical mistakes, but we cannot ignore the possibility of frauds. We'll discuss accounts payable frauds in a separate module. Now let's get into another reason for duplicate payments: invoice coding error. Accounting software follow the instructions. The basic controls are inbuilt in the software, not accepting the same invoice number. And this is a simple control, and it's basically based on the prime field. But that can be easily passed for overruled by making a small change or typing the different number. Simple example is, instead of typing invoice number 12345, invoice processor mistakenly codes 12435. That's it. System will accept because both the invoice numbers, though the invoice number mentioned on the invoice is same, but a typing error has created two invoices for the same amount, for the same invoice. So invoice without invoice number. It is possible to receive an invoice that does not have unique identification number or invoice number. This is a basic mistake done at the vendor side. It can cause more problems if the customer also do not have any policy or a process to use a standard coding for such invoices. Instead, different invoice processors following a different method, permutations to add invoice number into a system, leading to duplicate or multiple invoice processing. System migration or system integration could be one more reason. Such issues generally happen when the companies decide to shift from old accounting software to the new accounting software. This is a critical phase. Any loophole in the controls or vendor master data setup can result in financial risk, leading to a duplicate payments and a fraud. Poor segregation of duties. This means roles and responsibilities of accounts payable team is not correctly defined. Such issues are generally observed in small organizations, where there are limited number of controls and processes are semi-automated or manual. Example, suppose an electricity bill has to be paid on week 2. There are two accountants looking after invoice processing. One of them is on leave and other accountant make the electricity bill payment but fails to inform or update into the system. The other accountant, whose primary responsibility is to manage utility payments, also makes the payment as system is showing pending due. Such instances happen when there are loose controls in the process. Invoice paid in a wrong currency. Wrong currency payment happens in an organization or a shared service center who manages accounts payable of different geographies. Especially an accounts payable executive managing invoice processing for multiple geography may punch invoice into different currency. Example, US dollar invoice processed as Canadian dollar, leading to duplicate or an overpayment. So invoice processed in a multiple systems. This is another example. This generally happens if the invoice processing policy is not adhered to. Best example is invoice received at different locations and processed separately. Duplicacy could not be traced because the invoices were processed through different locations in the systems. So another example generally found in small organizations where advance paid during the transit, like fuel advance, not updated into a system, does not reflect in the AP system at the time of the payment, invoice payment. So mapping of incorrect supplier. This mistake generally happens when multiple vendors have a similar name. Example, Agarwal Transport Services and Agarwal Transport. Both names are similar except the last word services. There is very high probability of making a payment to a wrong vendor. In other case, it can be a correct vendor but with different branch or unit of the same parent group. Incorrect payment amount. Accounts payable executive punches a wrong amount that is not traced in Maker Checker review may also lead to an overpayment. So now let's talk about the best practices that will help to avoid duplicate payments. I'll be sharing few examples to give you an overview how duplicate payments happen and what are the possible controls. So now here again, as I said earlier, we are not talking about the exhaustive list of all the controls to avoid a duplicate payments. We'll be just discussing few examples that will help you understand the broader concept, how to avoid duplicate payments and what are the best controls. So before I get into the controls and to avoid duplicate payments, let me make it very clear, there is no organization in the world who can claim or who claims that they have never made a duplicate payment. That is hard to believe because there is no control which is foolproof. There is always a possibility of making a payment, a duplicate payment. Yeah, it's a different case where they have not identified any case, but that does not mean that there are no duplicate payments in that organization. So let's understand a few controls and the best practices. I think the best practice is using the processing standards, that is the standard processing in the organization. So it's a common issue in any organization is accounts payable department believes that other departments are the cause of their mistakes. The reality is that sometimes mistakes are made within accounts payable, especially when each invoice processor handles invoice in a manner he or she believes is the best. It's not that one person is doing it wrong. It's just that unless everyone processes invoice in exactly the same manner, there are going to be duplicate payment introduced. Hence, the best practice is develop a rigid coding standard to be used when entering a data. Periodically review your processes to make sure they are using the prescribed standards and not shortcuts they have developed on their own. Here are a few issues to be addressed. The way individuals' name are entered, and it has to be standard. So first name, first or the last name, whatever is the first, but there has to be a process, a standard process has to be followed by everyone. Let me give you some example. The best one is the way the abbreviations are handled. SBI, right? So you can write SBI or S, then there is a space, then B, then space, then I. Or instead you may write in other way S.B.I, or writing the full form, S for state, B for bank, and I for India. So how to handle leading modifiers, the gap, use of full names or abbreviations, SBI or State Bank of India. There has to be a standard process adhered by everyone, and there has to be a policy. A good policy will help to ensure that no such duplicate names are repeated into a master database. Don't forget to address industry specific issues. How to enter postal addresses, titles, and how to enter invoice numbers. Whether to include spaces, whether to include dash, whether to include leading zeros, etc. If you take this step seriously and set up rigid process and rigid coding standards, you'll almost completely eliminate the duplicate payment. It's almost, but there is no guarantee. Even if the process is set up and there is a new accountant or new accounts payable accountant who is there, right, he might make a mistake. The next best control is master vendor file. So the master vendor file is the repository of all significant information about the company's supplier. It is the reference point for accounts payable when it comes to paying invoices. And if it is handled incorrectly, it can and it does lead to a massive problem. Some best practices and controls are having a limited access to the master vendor file. So only few people should have an access to the master database. There has to be a maker-checker control. So periodically disable inactive vendors in the file. That does not mean to delete the entries, as the payment history associated with that vendor needs to be retained. Disabling inactive vendor in the file is different than deleting the vendor details. So at many companies, once a vendor gets into its master vendor file, it stays there forever. In a perfect world, this would not be a problem. However, if an account is not used for a while and then the vendor becomes inactive, often a new master vendor file is set up. Then, especially if no strict naming convention is followed, there will be 2 or more master vendor file entries for the same vendor, and this can lead to duplicate payments. Establishing a naming convention to be used when setting up vendors initially. Ensure that certain information like tax code, GST, PAN registrations, or any other local body taxing details to be obtained before the vendor can be set up or paid. Most important is to have a regular review of all the changes which are made in the file. When I say file, it's a master database file. The reason for regular review on changes made to the database is because this is the most vulnerable area, as it is observed that employee has been known to go into the master vendor file to change the mailing address or divert a legitimate payment from the vendor to an unintended party, usually themselves. Then, once the check has been made, they go back into the file and change the address back to the correcting email address. Without the review of the changes, the fraud could go to undetected for years, with different vendors being targeted each time. This is just simple example how the frauds are made in an accounts payable, and this is generally done by somebody who understands the master database very well and who is an insider, who has an access to the master database, and this generally happens when there is no maker-checker control in the place. Another best control is to avoid rush check or the rush payments. When the data is analyzed, a rush check represents a disappropriate share of both fraudulent checks and duplicate payments. The reason is simple. Some vendors know if they call an organization's accounts payable department and threaten to put the company on credit hold, the chance of rush manual check being issued is very high. So that is exactly what they do. Even if the call is legitimate, the chances are second or the third invoice has been issued before the vendor get desperate enough to call and demand a rush check. Inevitably, the original invoice eventually makes it a way into accounts payable and sometimes also gets paid. So part of the reason for this is the manual process sometimes results in records not being updated or entered correctly. So you have to be very careful when you receive a request for a rush payment, right? You will need to do all kind of a due diligence before you release the rush payment. So what is the best practice? The best practice is make it really difficult for someone to get a rush payment. This could include requiring a sign-off from the CFO along with an explanation of why this payment could not wait for a regular check cycle. Identify the reasons for rush payments by keeping a log of who has requested them and why, under what circumstances there is the request for the rush payment is made. After you have a few weeks or months activity, when you analyze the data, you should be able to identify trends and the culprits both at your company and outside, and then fix the problem. Basically, what I'm trying to insist is avoid rush payments. Identify duplicate payments made with the rush or manual check. So bring this to the attention of everyone involved and the management. There's nothing like seeing a large dollar amount associated with rush checks to put an end to the practice. Insist, even if you have to make a payment, a rush payment, insist on paying electronic instead by check. When you do get a request for a rush check, insist for ACH payment. Hopefully, you will convince the recipient to be paid electronically in future, eliminating them from future rush check payment pools. We should avoid trusting your ecosystem. That system will not accept the duplicate invoice. Every processor knows how to play around with the invoicing number. If invoice number is an editable field, adding a space, comma, dot, hyphen, or any other alphanumeric number can bypass the control and create one more invoice. Avoid non-PO invoice for the rush payment. This is the most vulnerable loophole to make payment without any PO control or PR control. Especially when there is an urgency from a supplier or approval authority, 100% control cannot be built unless the matching principles are established. Relying on the memory of processor. This is really a bad idea, primarily observed in a small organization where there are no controls and organizations expect their employees to memorize or separately maintain a duplicate invoice list without having a proper root cause analysis and closing the case. So what works well? Three-way match. No PO, no payment policy. The three-way match is a strong control feature used at most corporations. If the PO, receiving document, an approved invoice matches, the item is scheduled for payment. If there are discrepancies, it should be investigated by the party in the best position to resolve them. Ensure your organization is adhering to a policy of no payment to supplier without PO, that's purchase order. Best-in-class AP processes also create a PO for utility payments and other contractual works. Full backup for all rush payments. This topic is already discussed. Ensure there is full backup for all the rush payments approved by the most senior and responsible person from management and from the finance department. cleansing of master database, and most important and critical activity to be performed under supervision. Implement or establish a duplicate check process before initiating every payment. So this is an end of module duplicate payment. We'll have a separate module for frauds. Thank you.